Malawi and Scotland. Minister of Finance to present the 2026-2027 proposed budget this afternoon. And former Cabinet Minister Halima Daudi arrested for possession of suspected counterfeit United States dollars. And now the news in detail. His Excellency the President, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, has reaffirmed his commitment to strengthening fraternal bonds of friendship that exist between Malawi and Scotland. This follows Professor Mutharika's acceptance of his appointment as the co-honorary patron of the Scotland-Malawi Partnership. This will be the second time for the President to serve as the partnership's patron, which, according to Chief Secretary in the Office of the President and Cabinet Justin Saidi, is a reflection of the network's trust in the President's leadership. Scotland-Malawi Partnership is an international development network which was created to foster collaboration and friendship between Scotland and Malawi. The First Lady, Madam Professor Gertrude Mutharika, has thanked the Chinese government for donating towards the Beautify Malawi Trust. She said this at Kamuzu Palace when the Chinese government donated 40 million kwacha to the organization, which aims at promoting hygiene practices, proper waste disposal and recycling in Malawi, among other things. The First Lady described the donation given ahead of the Trust's unveiling of its 2026-2030 strategic plan today as timely. Mine Tumodzi reports.
As the clock ticks towards the unveiling of the 2026-2030 strategic plan for the Beautify Malawi BEAM Trust, the organization has received a boost of 40 million kwacha from the Chinese Chambers of Commerce in Malawi. Founder of the trust, First Lady Madam Professor Gertrude Mutharika, says BEAM values the support from the Chinese community in Malawi. Fanny Kachari is a representative of BEAM and said that the support is timely, coming ahead of the launch of its 5-year strategy.
On behalf of Her Excellency, because when she was with the team, she expressed her gratitude towards this donation, which is going to go a long way to support the work of Beautify Malawi. So indeed, on behalf of Her Excellency, we are excited because if you are aware, you have seen all the flyers where Beautify Malawi Trust will be unveiling its 2026 to 2030 strategy. So finding a timely donation like what the Chinese Chamber of Commerce has given us, we don't take it for granted. We are really grateful because it is going to support our work.
On his part, chairperson of the Chinese Chambers of Commerce in Malawi, Zhu Shanjian, says the chamber fully supports the activities BEAM is undertaking in areas of health, sanitation and education.
As a Chinese, we are coming here very early. When we are relation, 2007, most of when we started the relationship, Malawi and China. So many people come here for investment. So as a Chinese, most of us look at this country is our second family.
BEAM is expected to launch the 2026-2030 strategic plan on Friday, February 27, 2026. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika will grace the event scheduled to take place at Kamuzu Palace. Maim Tumodzi, MBC News, Lilongwe.
In another development, Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization, Joseph Mwanamveka, has held the relationship which exists between Malawi and China in the implementation of crucial national development projects. Mwanamveka was speaking in Lilongwe when he, on behalf of Malawi government, signed a grant of 43 million United States dollars, which is equivalent to 75 billion kwacha with the Chinese government. Details in this report by Hassan Piri.
Speaking during the signing ceremony, Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization, Joseph Mwanamveka, said the money received will be used for the expansion of M1 Road from Kanengo to Kamuzu International Airport so that it becomes a dual carriageway.
The purpose of this money, as the ambassador said, is for rehabilitation of the road from Kanengo to Kamuzu International Airport. We'll have a dual carriageway from Kanengo. We were going to extend from Kanengo to Kamuzu International Airport. I'm sure you will also agree with me that once this is done, it means there will be fast and efficient movement of goods and services to and from the airport. And also I think it is going to beautify the city. And I'm sure it will look, Longwe City will look good. And even to the people, visitors coming, or tourists coming to Malawi, I think it will give a good picture of Malawi.
Ambassador Loon Seung says they thought it imperative to assist the Malawi government with a grant so that they share the New Year celebration with the people of the Republic of Malawi. She said Malawi is a friend who for the past 20 years has proven to be trustworthy.
What I have announced today is the New Year's gift from the Chinese people to Malawian people. And the money actually we put into this special account will be used for the projects identified by the government of Malawi, supported by the Chinese government on any project that is identified as the priority for this country.
The Chinese government has also pledged support towards electrifying the Capitol Hill with solar energy. Malawi and China bilateral relationship dates back to December 2007, and Malawi has so far benefited a number of developmental projects, including the Parliament Building, Malawi University of Science and Technology, Bingu International Convention Center BICC, and Bingu National Stadium, among others. Hassan Piri, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization, Joseph Mwanamveka, is expected to present the 2026-2027 proposed budget statement today. The budget will be presented before Parliament meeting in Lilongwe at 2 o'clock this afternoon. This is the first full budget after President Mutharika's re-election as the President of the Republic of Malawi. Meanwhile, the Malawi Mining Investment Company, MAMICO, says there is need for the 2026-2027 national budget to place greater emphasis on the mining sector if Malawi is to achieve its aspiration of becoming self-reliant. Chief Executive Officer for MAMICO, Professor Leonard Kalindakafe, told MBC that mining presents a viable solution to accelerating economic development. Mwain Tomodzi reports.
An investigation by the Malawi Mining Investment Company MAMICO revealed that Malawi is losing out on mineral resources that could have transformed the country's economic fortunes. Chief Executive Officer for MAMICO, Professor Leonard Kalindakafe, disclosed that there are over 80 sites where small-scale miners are extracting gold, much of which is being smuggled out of the country. He said the investigation estimates that gold worth $750 million, approximately 1.2 trillion kwacha, has so far been smuggled out of Malawi.
All the districts, except the government, there's gold mining. Now, let me give you an example. The gold that is being mined, unfortunately, is being smuggled out. We have done studies, we meaning MAMICO. We have also looked at the international records, international gold, investigators and others. We have discovered that Malawi every year is losing more than $700 million worth of gold, smuggled gold. Now, that's just gold. That's just smuggled gold. So, if Malawi was to take full control of her gold resources per year, how much will we be gaining?
Professor Kalindakafe has since called on government to allocate adequate resources to the mining sector in the 2026-2027 national budget to keep further plan of the country's mineral resources.
The state president clearly has said the government is going to empower and capacitate MAMICO, Malawi Mining Investment Company, with resources, with all that is required, so that MAMICO can do various critical activities in the mining industry of Malawi, including mineral exploration, mine opening, procurement of mineral resources, setting up markets.
Recently, Minister of Mining and Natural Resources Jean Matanga told the National Assembly that the mining sector contributes only 1% to the country's gross domestic product GDP. Mwain Tumodzi, MBC News, Lilongwe.
In a related development, the Economics Association of Malawi, ECAMA, is calling for clearly stipulated debt management measures in the proposed 2026-2027 national budget to be presented today. ECAMA Executive Director Esme Korihera Kanyumbu said the current debt levels are unsustainable and there is also need for government to cut back on its expenditure.
The use of revenue, we talk of fiscal management. Where do we spend? How do we spend the revenue that have been collected? I should say that we borrow to finance deficits, budget deficits. It's not always enough to collect enough revenue for what government is supposed to spend. But then we should borrow sustainably, borrowing at the rates that we can comfortably service, but also not borrowing to consume only, but also borrowing to make investments, to make returns that will also advance the economy. We expect the budget to give an indication of how we go about the recovery, economic recovery that we had in the zone. We are happy that the government has recognized that our economy is in a bad shape, and to revive the economy, we expect government to give indication in terms of where expenditure is going to be done. There's an indication, as you may be aware, of the sectors that have been earmarked for development, for economic growth, the agriculture, tourism, mining and manufacturing. We expect the numbers that will come out of the budget to point towards the growth of these sectors. We also expect government to show fiscal management in terms of the numbers that will come out of the budget.
Meanwhile, youths in the country say they look forward to a youth-centered budget which will prioritize issues concerning young people. Center for Youth Empowerment Executive Director Lucky Mbewe says youth are in majority and deserve a lion's share in the 2026-2027 national budget for livelihood improvement and national development. He explains.
We've submitted a consideration on the involvement of the youth in economic participation through allocation of resources to support young and upcoming entrepreneurs to start up small-scale businesses, involvement of the youth in the mining, because we understand the youth are quite a lot. They are innovative enough and they are now thinking outside the box in terms of participation in the mining sector, participation in the agriculture, mechanization, not the ordinary way of farming using a hoe, not at all. We're looking forward to see how the youth will be involved and engaged through community colleges. As you know, the DPP government has been well known in their own brand of community colleges that helps to build skills and support the youth to start their own businesses. So these are the critical elements that we're looking forward to see.
This is MBC News, a reminder of our top stories. President Professor Mutharika reaffirms his commitment to strengthening fraternal bonds of friendship between Malawi and Scotland. Minister of Finance to present the 2026-2027 proposed budget this afternoon. And former Cabinet Minister Halima Daudi arrested for possession of suspected counterfeit United States dollars. Welcome back. Minister of Homeland Security Peter Mukito has called upon 61 graduates who have graduated in Command and Leadership course to serve the nation with integrity, patriotism and professionalism as they have been imparted with leadership skills. Mukito made the remarks at the pass-out parade ceremony of 42 male and 19 female police officers at Zomba Police College, where he presided over the presentation of certificates upon the closure of the course. Details in this report.
The minister stressed the need for the course in ensuring that police officers are well equipped with knowledge and expertise so that they can execute their duties professionally and efficiently.
We will definitely support them, and His Excellency the State President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is much willing to make sure that he provide all the resources available so that we develop skills on our officers, we develop knowledge to our officers. In fact, apart from the building of the college here, we also, as a government, thinking of constructing a model forensic laboratory for our police officers, so that investigation for our officers should be very professional, that when we are hit by a certain crime, we're able to respond accordingly and make necessary arrests.
Inspector General of Police Richard Ruhanga concurred that police officers ought to adhere to core values of professionalism, integrity, protection of human rights, transparency and accountability as they assume leadership positions.
We are a human rights organization, so when we do our work, we are protecting human rights. We are safeguarding human rights because we are protecting life and property, we are protecting people's rights. If you are doing demonstration, the duty of the police is to facilitate those demonstrations in accordance with the law. So that's our main mission as a police organization. If you have property, you need to keep that property. No one should take it away from you because you have the rightful owner and you have the right to own that property, whether it be land or anything. So police duty is about protection of human rights.
One of the best students for the course, Ellen Damson, station officer for Salima Police, expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the course.
This was a hands-on type of course. We were being taught really practical issues on the ground in terms of policing. You know, for the record, I'm a nurse by profession, and I've just been switched from the nursing profession to the general duties. So I had to go through this course to really learn on how to do the actual policy. And this course will help me in terms of commanding. How should I command? How should I lead? You know, leading is not about the ranks as they say it. It's about influencing others to do the work you want to do freely. So that was a skill on its own. That's what I've learned. So it was really helpful, and it will help me.
The officers have been challenged to work according to the code of conduct of the police in promoting police services.
Police have arrested former Member of Parliament for Lower South East and former Cabinet Minister Halima Daudi for possessing suspected counterfeit foreign currency. According to a statement signed by the Deputy National Police spokesperson Alfred Chintere, the arrest follows a search operation conducted on February 26, 2026 at her residence in Lumbadzi, Dowa by detectives from the Fiscal and Fraud Section in conjunction with officials from the Reserve Bank of Malawi. The statement says that during the operation at her residence, officers recovered 76,900 USD, suspected to be counterfeit, together with assorted materials bearing designs imitating genuine currency notes. The suspect was immediately taken into custody following the discovery. Meanwhile, the police seized the suspected counterfeit currency and related materials as exhibits pending examination and analysis by the Reserve Bank of Malawi. She remains in police custody and is expected to appear before court soon to answer charges related to possession of suspected counterfeit currency and articles intended for currency imitation. The latest report by Ministry of Health National Reference Laboratory indicates that 54 patients who were referred to Katema Health Facility in Mangochi for suspected food poisoning were affected by bacteria species contamination due to poor hygiene. According to District Disease Surveillance and Response Officer for Mangochi, Stanley Rashid, the report indicates that poor sanitation and hygiene contributed to an outbreak of waterborne diseases which forced the villagers to experience fever and diarrhea. The incident, which occurred some 2 weeks ago, created a wave of shock and panic among villagers in the area, with some suggesting a possibility of food poisoning. Meanwhile, authorities at Mangochi District Health Office have urged communities to maintain high standard of sanitation and hygiene to avoid such outbreaks. He explains.
the analysis. We took both stool samples, water samples, and food samples. So as the DHO, we have the capacity to do water sample analysis as well as stool sample analysis, of which after culturing there were no growth, which actually confirmed that it wasn't cholera-related issue. However, we also did the water analysis where we found that there was a coliform present in one of the samples that we took in some households, which actually pointed that there was some kind of contamination. Since the DHO does not have the capacity to do toxicology analysis and isolation of the actual species of bacteria that is present in the water samples as well as food samples, we sent part of the samples to the national level FIM to do further analysis. So current results shows that there were indeed some bacteria, but species are present in the samples, the flower samples. For example, Crabacea species were isolated, as well as Providential species were isolated. These are not normal species that we normally found in food, and it shows also that indeed there was some kind of contamination.
Local trade authorities are describing the recent China zero tariff deals for Africa countries as an incentive to push the Malawian private sector to increase production for export. The Chinese government has introduced the duty-free access to 53 African countries, including Malawi, towards promoting African exports to China. Details in this report.
Currently, a majority of African countries are on the receiving end with significant stocks of Chinese imports and a few exporting to the global industry giant. According to the Business Insider, in 2020, Chinese exports to Africa surged by 24.7% to reach $140.79 billion, while imports from Africa rose just by 2.3% to reach $81.25 billion. While Africa is still pushing to start trading within itself duty-free with the Continental Free Trade Area, there has still been the need to penetrate markets beyond the seas. However, this has remained a challenge due to a number of barriers such as high tariffs and other structural yardsticks placed on African goods, and in some cases failure to consistently meet demand volumes. According to the Malawi Investment and Trade Center, MITC, Malawi already has some products that are on demand in China, of which as a country is yet to meet. But spokesperson in the Ministry of Trade, Patrick Bota, says the zero tariff deal is a big opportunity for Malawi.
There have been fears about the market, but now that we have this particular access, we believe that our private sector are going to do the needful and grab this opportunity by the horns to actually fully understand how this Chinese market works in terms of volumes. It comes back to the private sector. They have to produce more products that actually meet the quality or the standards that are needed on that market. Because to win a market is one thing. You can't benefit from these developments if you are not producing.
Initially, duty-free access to China had applied only to 33 African least developed countries, LDCs. The deal, which takes effect on 1st May this year, gives Malawi and others an opportunity to increase production to feed into China with commodities, agro-produce and selected manufactured products. Elin Chimoyo, MBC News, Blantyre.
In sports, Ministry of Sports has commended the roles played by district sports officers in coordinating sports activities at district level. The ministry spokesperson, Macmillan Mwale, said this when responding to a question on how the district officers contribute to the development of sports in their respective destinations. Mwale explains.
The district sports officers, they play a significant role, a very important role as far as the sports development is concerned. Because they are the policy holders at the district level, they are the ones who are the advisors on what is happening in sports at the district level. At the same time, they are also the eyes of the ministry, because whatever is happening in these districts, the ministry might not be everywhere, but through them we get reports and we also provide guidance as well as the implementing programs at the district level. So all these goes through the district sports officers' office. They are very important because these are the officers that have the technical know-how and also they have a direct link with the parent ministry of sports. So what we expect from them is to be at the center of whatever is happening. As long as it is something to do with the sports, they're at the center and they do advise what is supposed to be done. For example, if there are construction works of sports facilities, it is these district sports officers that have the technical know-how. How best can we construct these facilities, standard facilities, or maybe in terms of event organization of sports events, they are also very critical in this, apart from any other advice to do with sports that can come from their office. So they play a very important role as far as the sport development is concerned.
And that's the news for now. A recap of our top stories before we leave. President Professor Mutharika reaffirms his commitment to strengthening fraternal bonds of friendship between Malawi and Scotland. Minister of Finance to present the 2026-2027 proposed budget this afternoon. And former Cabinet Minister Halima Daudi arrested for possession of suspected counterfeit United States dollars. Keep up to date with our news coverage on our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You are with me, Obile Kaisa. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.